I never thought I'd see this day coming. Not in the way it did. Sitting at my mahogany desk, the sunlight spilling through the floor-to-ceiling windows, I smoothed the silk of my blouse and ran my fingers over the subtle gold bracelet my grandmother gave me years ago. It felt like a talisman now, a reminder that even when the world turned its back, I could keep going. My phone buzzed sharply, breaking the quiet hum of the office. The name flashing on the screen made my chest tighten. Mom. I hadn't expected her to call, especially not after all these years. My thumb hovered over the green button, my mind racing. What could she possibly want now? Apologies, pride, curiosity, or something else entirely? The truth was, I had built this life without them. Every late night, every tough decision, every ounce of doubt I wrestled with, they never noticed, never believed I could do it. And yet, here I was, in a corner office overlooking the city, with contracts stacked neatly on my desk and the hum of quiet success surrounding me. I let out a small, ironic laugh, the kind that carries both victory and old pain. For a moment, I closed my eyes and felt the sharp edge of old hurts mix with a soft glow of triumph. Today, everything would change, and they wouldn't see it coming. I remember the sting of that afternoon like it was yesterday. I was 18, clutching a portfolio of sketches I'd poured months into, my hands trembling under the weight of my dreams. The living room smelled faintly of Mom's perfume, mixed with the ever-present aroma of burnt toast from the kitchen. I had summoned the courage to show her and Dad what I had been working on, hoping for a smile, a nod, even a hint of encouragement. Instead, I was met with silence, then criticism. "Why are you wasting your time with this?" Dad's voice was sharp, slicing through my fragile excitement. "You need something practical, something that guarantees a future. Art won't feed you, or us." Mom didn't speak. She only shook her head, a mixture of worry and disappointment etched across her face. I felt my chest tighten, my vision blur with unshed tears. The lump in my throat grew heavier with every passing second. Every effort, every sleepless night, every ounce of passion I had poured into this craft, it was invisible to them. My fingers brushed against the small silver locket around my neck, a gift from my grandmother. She had been the only one who ever believed I could carve a path of my own. "Trust yourself, Emily," she whispered the night she gave it to me. "Even when they don't see your light, it will guide you." That night, after the argument had died down, I lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. My sketches were scattered across the floor, a mosaic of my heart. I realized then that if I wanted to be seen, to be respected, I couldn't wait for them to approve. I had to step out on my own. I packed a small bag, tucked the locket close to my chest, and made a silent promise. One day, they would see. Not because they chose to look, but because I would rise so high my success would be impossible to ignore. I left home that summer, carrying nothing but my bag, my sketches, and that silver locket pressed against my heart. The city was enormous, intimidating, and exhilarating all at once. Every street seemed to hum with possibility, every cafe and gallery a reminder that talent could be discovered if you dared to put yourself out there. It wasn't easy. I took a part-time job at a small design studio, working 12-hour days just to make rent and keep my supplies. Some nights, I would lie awake on my thin mattress, staring at the cracked ceiling, questioning if I was chasing a dream too far out of reach. Doubt was a constant companion, whispering that I wasn't good enough, that I was foolish to hope for more. Then came Ms. Harper. She was a seasoned designer in her 60s, sharp-eyed and quick-witted, who saw something in me that even I struggled to recognize. "Emily," she said the first time she glanced at my portfolio, "you don't need permission to succeed. You need persistence. And heart. You've got both." Her words became a lifeline. Under her guidance, I learned to navigate the brutal world of clients, contracts, and deadlines. I faced countless rejections, projects that slipped through my fingers, ideas that were dismissed, but I celebrated the small victories too. My first paid freelance project, the first commission I could proudly display in my tiny apartment, the first deposit that made me feel like I was finally standing on my own 2 feet. I kept my success a secret from my parents. Social media posts were carefully curated, showing ordinary life moments while hiding the growing empire I was building. I didn't want their approval. I wanted their astonishment when they could no longer ignore me. Every achievement, every accolade, every late-night email sent and early morning call made me stronger. I transformed my small studio into a thriving design consultancy, eventually hiring a few trusted colleagues, each one sharing my passion and believing in the vision. My reputation grew quietly but powerfully. Clients trusted me not just for my skill, but for the confidence I carried into every project. Through it all, the silver locket never left my neck. It was a reminder of the promise I had made to myself in that lonely bedroom years ago, that I would rise, that I would succeed on my terms, that one day, when they finally looked up, they would have to face the woman I had become, and there would be no ignoring me anymore. I had been expecting the visit for a week, ever since my assistant mentioned that my parents had RSVP'd to the charity gala I was quietly sponsoring. I knew they thought it was just another modest event, an opportunity for a fleeting social appearance. They had no idea the extent of my success, or the woman I had become. When they walked through the entrance, I watched them from across the room, my pulse steady, a small, controlled smile on my lips. Dad's eyes flicked around, taking in the elegantly decorated space, the subtle lighting casting soft shadows over the art that lined the walls. Mom's hand hovered near her chest, as if to steady herself, her mouth slightly open. I led them into my office before the gala began. My surroundings were a careful balance of warmth and authority, mahogany shelves filled with design books, bold abstract paintings I had commissioned, a crystal vase holding fresh orchids, a desk meticulously organized, a laptop displaying ongoing projects with impressive figures. It was not the space of a struggling artist. It was the command center of a thriving businesswoman. I poured 3 glasses of sparkling water and handed them over. "I'm glad you could make it," I said, my voice calm but firm, the locket around my neck catching the light. They looked around in silence. Dad's lips pressed together, eyes narrowing as if trying to decode the mystery before him. Mom's fingers clenched the edge of her handbag, knuckles whitening. I let the quiet stretch, feeling the power shift gently but unmistakably. Finally, I spoke. "You always told me I needed a practical career, that my art wouldn't take me anywhere. You ignored my effort, my dedication, my dreams. But I kept going. On my own. Without your approval." I pressed a button on my desk. A slideshow appeared on the large monitor. Major projects I had led, client testimonials, annual revenue charts. My parents' jaws dropped. "This is what I've built," I continued, my voice steady. "I am the CEO of my own design consultancy. These numbers are not borrowed. These accolades are earned. And yes, that includes the company you never even noticed existed until now." Mom's eyes shimmered with tears. Dad looked pale, his pride wounded, guilt flickering across his face. They couldn't deny what they saw. The woman they dismissed, the girl they underestimated, had transformed into someone they could no longer ignore. I paused, letting the moment sink in. Every sharp remark they had made over the years, every dismissive glance, every conversation where they didn't believe in me, now had its counterpart in undeniable truth. I wasn't asking for recognition. I was showing them the reality they had failed to acknowledge. And just so we're clear, I added, my tone a mixture of compassion and firmness, this isn't just about success. It's about respect. About understanding that ignoring someone's effort doesn't stop them from rising. They finally met my gaze, humbled, shocked, perhaps even proud. But I wasn't finished yet. The story wasn't just about revealing what I had achieved, it was about reclaiming the power that had always been mine. The room was quiet after the reveal. I could feel the weight of the moment pressing gently, yet firmly, against all of us. I wasn't angry, not anymore, but I was decisive. The woman they had underestimated was in control now, and I intended to make sure the past stayed in the past. "I've thought a lot about this," I said, my voice calm, deliberate. "I can help. But things will only work if we do it differently this time. No old patterns. No dismissals. No ignoring each other's efforts. Dad's shoulders stiffened, but I didn't flinch. I had rehearsed this conversation in my mind for years. You will have my support, I continued, but it comes with conditions. I turned to Mom first. Mom, you love, but you criticize. That won't work anymore. I want you to focus on your passions, paint, write, travel. Pursue something that fills you. Let go of the guilt and the constant second-guessing. You can be a better version of yourself, but you must let yourself grow. Mom's eyes shimmered with tears. She nodded slowly, as if absorbing not just the words, but the permission she had never given herself. Then I faced Dad. You've always valued practicality over heart. That's fine, but now you must value effort. Encourage, mentor, support. Stop underestimating others just because it's uncomfortable to see them succeed. Start with small steps. Help someone in need. Take a course you've always avoided, and stop dismissing dreams that aren't your own. They exchanged glances, a mixture of guilt and curiosity crossing their faces. I let them feel the gravity of what I was offering, a chance to rebuild, not just our relationship, but themselves. I added one final, unspoken rule for both of them. This wasn't about me bending to them anymore. They would need to meet me halfway. I would support, guide, and forgive, but only if they committed to real change. Old habits, old hurts, old dismissals, they stayed behind the door of my office. A silence fell. It was not the awkward, fearful silence of the past. It was heavy with realization, responsibility, and potential. The balance had shifted. I wasn't just their daughter anymore. I was a woman who had faced rejection, embraced independence, and carved her own path. And now I was the one holding the map. Finally, I smiled softly, feeling the thrill of clarity. We start here, I said. Together, but differently. And for the first time, we do it right. For the first time in years, I felt a calm power settle in my chest, a certainty that I could love them without losing myself, and that my hard-won place in the world was unshakable. Weeks passed after that pivotal conversation, and slowly, subtly, things began to change. Mom enrolled in a weekend painting class, rediscovering the joy she had tucked away for decades. I could hear her laughter over the phone, light and genuine, a sound I hadn't realized I'd missed so much. Dad started mentoring a young designer at my firm, offering guidance he had once withheld from me, and I watched him grow proud in a way that didn't feel forced or hollow. I, too, was changing, not in power but in perspective. I reflected on the years of rejection, the quiet nights filled with doubt, the endless grind that had shaped me. Every struggle, every tear, every moment I felt unseen had led me here. And now, as I watched my parents step into new versions of themselves, I understood the full circle of it all. That silver locket, my grandmother's gift, still rested against my collarbone. I touched it gently, feeling its weight and warmth, remembering her words. Even when they don't see your light, it will guide you. It had guided me through every uncertainty, every lonely night, every leap of faith. And now it felt heavier, not with burden, but with a quiet pride of fulfillment. I looked out my office window at the city stretching beyond, sunlight catching the glass towers like scattered diamonds. I had built a life that no one could take away, and I had done it on my terms. My parents had joined me, not because they had dictated the journey, but because they chose to walk alongside me now, differently, with respect and openness. I took a deep breath, letting it fill me with a sense of calm, hard-earned joy. Life had given me the ultimate gift, success, yes, but also the power to forgive, to guide, and to witness growth where once there had only been disappointment. And as I leaned back, a small, confident smile playing on my lips, I whispered to myself, just as I might to a voice-over microphone someday. I am proof that being ignored doesn't mean being powerless, and rising on your own terms is the most beautiful kind of victory.